My name is Ashley Locy, and I will be reading The Velveteen Rabbit from The Treasury of Fairy Tales, written by Dorothea Goldenberg and Betty Killian, published by Publications International. One Christmas morning, a boy named John found a velveteen rabbit in his stocking. John loved the rabbit at once. He hugged him close and rubbed his brown and white fur and felt his cuddly softness. Then John set the rabbit on his toy shelf. The Velveteen Rabbit was surprised at all the company he had in the nursery. There were wooden lions on wheels, a troop of metal toy soldiers, mechanical boats, and a family of clowns, and a large, worn rocking horse. But he was still lonely, because the other toys paid him no attention. Only the rocking horse was kind to the Velveteen Rabbit. He talked gently to him every day and seemed to be very wise. "You seem so real," the rabbit told the horse one day. "John loves you so much. He hugs you and rides you and seems so happy." "I am very nearly real," said the horse carefully. "You can be real too. If John loves you enough, when he has loved you so much that the patches of your fur are worn off and you become faded and shabby, then you may be real too." The Velveteen Rabbit did not like the idea of being shabby, but he did want to be real. John seemed to have forgotten the Velveteen Rabbit, but every day he rode the horse. He hugged him and petted and loved him until the horse was real and jumped out the nursery window. One night, John was restless and couldn't go to sleep. He kept begging his mother for one more story. Finally, she picked up the Velveteen Rabbit from the shelf and said, "Here, take your toy. He will help you sleep." John hugged the soft rabbit close and fell asleep. After that, the Velveteen Rabbit always slept in the warm bed with John, and he was no longer lonely. Sometimes John squeezed him so tight and the rabbit could hardly breathe. John talked to him and made tunnels underneath the covers, like burrows that a real rabbit lived in. The Velveteen Rabbit liked that and wondered if he would ever become real. Time passed, and the rabbit did not notice how his beautiful velveteen fur had become worn in spots. His tail was loose, and all the pink had worn off on his nose where John kissed him. Spring came, then summer. John took the rabbit outside to play in the grass and in the sandbox. The sand in the rabbit's fur only made it more drab and shabby than ever. Once, the boy forgot and left the Velveteen Rabbit under a zinnia row in the garden. His father had to search the garden with his flashlight until he found the rabbit, because John couldn't go to sleep without him. My, said his father. Such fuss over a toy." John clasped the worn rabbit tightly. "He isn't a toy. He's real." The Velveteen Rabbit heard this, and he snuggled close to John with joy in his heart. One morning, John was feeling ill. When the Velveteen Rabbit lay close to him, he could feel how hot the boy's skin was. John talked in his sleep, and strange people came and went into the nursery. The Velveteen Rabbit crept into the burrows of the bedding and stayed hidden, but close to John. He knew John needed him now. It was a long, sad time. John was too ill to play with the Velveteen Rabbit, but the shabby little toy remembered all of their happy times together and laid close by. Finally, the fever went away. John sat up and cuddled the Velveteen Rabbit once again. His mother and father came into the room with a strange man they called Doctor. "He can get up now," said the doctor, "and he should clean and spray the room for germs." The doctor saw the Velveteen Rabbit by the pillow. "And get rid of that stuffed animal," he ordered. "It's a mass of germs. Get John a new one." The Velveteen Rabbit could not believe what he heard. He was real. The boy had said so, but still it happened. The Velveteen Rabbit was picked up and carried out and tossed onto the rubbish heap with old picture books and broken toys. The Velveteen Rabbit was frightened and cold. Did John know he was here? He tried to call out, but he didn't know how. He remembered once in the nursery when a toy soldier had rusted until its head fell off. John's mother had carried the soldier away. Had she brought him here? He wondered. Here to the trash heap. The Velveteen Rabbit looked all around and discovered what remained of the toy soldier. Well, at least it hadn't disappeared altogether. He laid still and shivered a bit. A big tear rolled down his cheek, off his chin, and into the grass at the edge of the rubbish heap. Suddenly, the tear glowed. The Velveteen Rabbit watched as the light began to glow all around the tear. Then a lovely fairy stood at the center of the light. "Little rabbit," she said, "I am the nursery fairy. I have come to make you real." "But I am already real," whispered the rabbit. "You were real to John because he loved you so much," said the fairy. "Now, because you have been so kind to the boy and because you have wept, I will make you truly real." The fairy lifted the shabby, worn rabbit in her arms and flew into the forest. There she kissed him and set him down on the grassy knoll. The Velveteen Rabbit saw a real ring of real rabbits staring at him. They began to dance all around him in wonders of wonders. The Velveteen Rabbit moved on real legs and with real paws, and he wrinkled his real pink nose. Winter passed and spring. One summer day, John was playing again in his sandbox with a small brown and white rabbit. When he crept out of the forest and stood quite still, for what seemed a long time, the rabbit watched the boy who helped him become real. He felt both happy and sad. Then the rabbit turned on his hind legs and hopped back into the forest to return to his new life. The end.